Welcome back, everybody, to the LS Car Meets. I am your host, Primo, and today we're going to be talking always a little bit more about LS Meets. I've been having some issues recently. We had some power outages, some other things that went on, and I've probably lost I don't know, 6 to 7, maybe even 8 levels of reputation. The reputation you see is actually behind. I'm really close to that 550 mark right now. So I'm really happy about that. It's good to be able to move forward. I mean, we continue this quest for 1,000. I'm at rank 26, but I got a couple of other people right now that I'm continuing to face up against. So I'm going to see this as it comes up to see where I'm at. So see, I'm at that 28th level there. I'm hovering right now around 26, and I've kind of stayed at 26. Once you get at that level, I think it's pretty much, there's going to be a big fight between everybody, and it's just part of that. You know, once you get to this rank, it is what it is. But yeah, that's the thing is I would like to kind of be the first person to get there, other than the guy that cheated to get there. But you do what you can, and I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. And yeah, we had 2 big storms here that really blew out the power, so I lost power twice. I had this big flux in power. It really stunk, but you know, I'm gonna try to be positive about it and just keep going from there. So one of the things we were talking about, we're going to kick into a race and show something. One thing that I got to ask you guys is, when we first started playing, there was probably a mediocre group of people that really kind of focused on, obviously, people having big KDs. I know you guys love doing that stuff. And I was not a big fan of that. I just liked having the nice, you know, competitive numbers, or just having a lot of numbers. That was my big thing. But I ran into a lot of people that had these positive win-loss ratios when it came to racing. And that's something that really disappeared. I never really thought about it. But when LS Tuners came out, the win-loss thing became, I guess, more of a deal for a lot of people. And the problem that I see with that is that I think a lot of that is unearned. It's really frustrating. I mean, especially for me, like, my rank is not that high. I'm around 920, I think, right now. And I go into races, I get kicked all the time just because of my rank. And I mean, if people are going to kick me because I'm faster than them, I guess, I mean, that's a thing. But it really is just, you just keep doing what you're doing and racing, and hopefully, you know, people let you in and you're able to play. But what kind of annoys me is you go into these races and you see somebody that has, you know, 400 wins, 200 losses, something like that. And I would like for it to be real, but for the most part, a lot of times it's not, or it's like kind of fabricated. One of the things that I'm doing here is I'm getting in a race with somebody, and obviously they've glitched their tires and done some other stuff to it. I'm not going to call that shit. I don't know if that does anything for you. It does your speed. I looked at the time at the end of it, and I think I lost fair and square. Like, there's days when you don't go fast. Maybe you focus too much on the guy in front of you and not on the race that you're in. But that thing is I lose, and it happens. I think I have like a 74% win-loss right now, which I think is a real dynamic number. It's a real one. The more I challenge myself to different things like pursuit mode, which we're trying to find that's the other thing I'm trying to find, which pursuit cars are best for pursuits right now. So that's something I really didn't do before. And I put myself in cars that are really slower, and I don't expect to win every time. I'm really happy that I have a 74%. It is what it is. But people will come in, they won't look at those numbers. They'll look at that win-loss number. And so I do this race, and obviously the person is better than me, and they beat me. All good, all's fair in love and war. I send them a big, good game, and we move on to the next thing. The problem is once I get into the next race, I'm going to race this person, and, all of a sudden I dial my game in. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm focusing too much on, maybe the idea that things were glitched, maybe that things weren't right, that I'm not happy with how I'm racing, and just say to heck with it. And I find the best racing style is really just to be laid back and do it. I actually like to talk to people while I'm racing so that I'm not too focused on what I'm doing, and kind of let that natural racing ability kind of, you start getting muscle memory the more you race. And that's the thing. Sit back and let it work. And again, that doesn't mean you win every race. But the problem is once I get my game going and I'm in it, and I'm making the times that I should be making on a track when I'm, when I'm in second place. Obviously, the catch up is off, and I'm very happy that something will be non-contact, so you have the ability to not worry about anything but your driving style. So I dial that in and I start winning the race. And the second you get in that lead, the person leaves. And now, the problem with that, and this is what I hate, is, just the idea of, if you're going to get into a race, finish what you started, number one. Number two is, if there's 5 racers and it goes down to 4, or 8 racers and it goes down to, I think, 6 or whatever, or however that number works, you've now kind of hurt the reputation build of the person that you're racing against. So now really all you're doing is I'm just going to say it, you're being really selfish and trying to get something that really is like, hey, you got 1,000 wins and 200 losses, but it's not deserved. It's not a real number. If you really want to know what you're doing and you really want to know where you're going to improve at, that win-loss number one isn't going to give it to you, but at least the number that you have, I think I would be okay if it was legit. I'm not a big fan of a number that's a straight-up lie. You know what I mean? And that's the thing is prior to this, I've had a positive win-loss once in my existence. I knew when I started hosting races and championships that was going to disappear. Sure enough, it did. It was no problem. I didn't take it personal. You just go on with life and you play the game and you have fun. And now that we're playing LS, I am getting back to it and starting to get forward into that positive win-loss. But it's not the be-all, end-all. The number that I really want to see and the number that I think is real is really 2 numbers. Is what's the percentage of times that you win? That's okay if you want to look at it from that perspective, but look at it as a real number. And the second thing is I want to see where I stand up overall. If I'm going to race myself and if those finishing times or those best laps or anything mean anything to me, then it is, again, racing yourself. And also, once you finish that race, see where you stack up against everybody else. If you see yourself in a race and you say, hey, you know what, I'm the 120th person in a list of everybody that plays GTA, that means that there's effectively 125 people ahead of you that are faster than you. So the question you really need to ask is, what are you leaving on the track? And is there some way of pulling that? Are they using glitches? People use glitches. They use curb boosting. They use, skip shifting. They get all these tricks and stuff. And you may not be I'm certainly not willing to, sacrifice my gameplay to go get that or do extra stuff. I just want to have a natural race and see that natural progression and really face myself. And what you find over and over again is you continue to move up even if you have those. And the beauty of street racing or the LS tuner in general is that it is based on that idea of continually getting better. These tracks are made to be competitive. They have cars that are competitive. The Calico is not the fastest vehicle in every race by any means, and I find that also fun, and I also find that very rewarding for this update. So that's the thing, is if you're going to be the guy that's looking for that positive win-loss ratio, you're not going to get anything out of it. It's going to be empty, and you're going to end up leaving. You're going to end up messing with everybody else. So that's the thing is we went over a couple of things right there, and I hope that you guys that are racing, if you're going to start a race with somebody, even if you're going to lose, stick to the end. If you feel that you can't beat that person and, hey, you're not having fun doing that, I don't know why you wouldn't. But if you feel you can't race that person anymore, feel free. Maybe you do think that person is cheating. Maybe you do think that my, close to 1,000th level character is not legit. I'm okay with that, and I'm okay with people going, I don't want to race against that guy. I mean, I've had guys that come in with level 8,000, and I'm okay kicking them. This guy that is racing around with glitch tires on, you know what? I don't feel I did race him, and I stuck with it because it was more for my character than that person. But if somebody else was hosting and they said, hey, I don't like that guy, I'm going to kick him, I'm not going to get mad at them. I'm going to think that they're kind of justified in what they're doing. So drive your events accordingly and, put your best foot forward. Put your character here. If you're going to race in this, do it right. I want this LS Tuner thing to be different than what we've run into. And it really is a microcosm among racing. And we're noticing that kind of, I'm starting to, this is the only time in my existence, if you will, when playing GTA that I've run into 3 or 4 different racers that I continue to see over and over again. Some of them are guys that I see, and the second they see me, they're gone. But that's okay. You're starting to see racers that are continually going in. I've worked with probably 3 or 4 of you that I wanted to give you a shout out to that we helped out that went from one car to another and saw like, hey, you know what? Everybody told me the Calico was the fastest, and guess what? It wasn't. And he's now dropped his times down into a real competitive area. And that's the thing is once he's there, he's going to keep improving, keep getting better, and we can just make this better for everybody. And I hope that happens on PC. I hope that happens on PS guys, and I hope we continue to do it on the Xbox side. And that's the thing is I want to host these competitions and get back into this and kind of get the reward of playing GTA again, not just for me but for all you guys. So come back in, have a good time. Let's all race together. Let's not look at that win-loss ratio. You know what? Don't even look at your percentage of wins. Just look at your time and see what you can do and what you can continue to do to succeed. And then, sure, if we find people that are actually glitching or breaking the game or cheating to win, then by all means, we'll do what we need to do to deal with that person on our own time. I think the best way to beat them is just to beat them on the track. And I have to agree that this kind of racing is the way it is. And once those guys if you're cheating, then you're cheating to win, and it doesn't turn into any victories, then it really isn't worth cheating. And there's just no other reason for you to do anything but race legit or leave. And I think for the most part, these guys just give up and leave because they're not doing this for the right reasons. And that's the thing is we are. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, hopefully those reasons will be to have fun. And that's the thing is I love having fun. I hope you guys do too. So that's been my thing for today. It's just, it's been a rough, man. I'm trying to keep up with this stuff. And then with still helping Rockstar, or at least at their support side, with kind of figuring out how to fix the solutions. One of the things, if you guys want to suggest to them, is I've said if you're in the LS Tuner, a lot of you guys, like I said, are AFK. I said every time you hit a new level, that the game should auto-save inside of LS Tuner. It doesn't currently. You kind of have to trigger that save. So I said that's something to do. Make sure you make that suggestion out to the not support side, but for the feedback side, and let them know that, hey, this is a good idea. We can fix this, and, we could, a lot of these AFK guys that are, taking hits for things can go back in and make it worth their while to keep banging out levels and getting up to that 1,000 so they can unlock everything, which, it's just going to be fun. I just like the idea of being up there. And I'd like to really finish, even if I send, top 20, but I'd certainly like to have, I think top 7 to 8 enough to be right in there to be able to see the top 10 guys all the way on my one screen. I think that would make me really happy. And I think there's a couple of dudes in there that are still like grinding away that might have it happen. You know what I mean? It would be cool to, have us all in that 1,000 group and kind of send out a message to everybody and be like, hey, the 1,000 group's got to get together and play. And the thing is, if you want to be a part of it, we'd love to have you. So even if you're not 1,000, you're always welcome to race with me, and welcome to hit some pursuits up. And hopefully you learn something on the process. Take care, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you tune in again as we hit up the LS Tuner meets here on GTA. Talk to you later. Bye.